Hey, what's up? How is it going? Hey, salut, comment ça va? Hold on, why do I suddenly sound like another person? I'm pretty sure I did not download a new voice pack. If you speak more than one language, you've probably noticed this. When you switch languages, you don't just switch words and grammar. Your voice itself feels different. Higher, lower, softer, sharper. Sometimes like a completely different personality sneaks in. Today, we are going to break down why that happens. And spoiler, linguists have studied this for decades. What they found is that it's not random at all. It's your body, your society, and even your brain all working together. And yes, I'll share actual research with names and dates, so you know I'm not just making this up over coffee. I don't even like coffee. Part 1. What exactly changes? First, let's talk about what's actually shifting when you change languages. One big thing is pitch. Basically, how high or low your voice sounds. When you switch languages, your pitch often moves up or down, sometimes just slightly, sometimes a lot. Research shows that in many language pairs, bilinguals consistently shift their average pitch height between languages. Do you glide along smoothly or do you swoop up and down dramatically? For example, English tends to spread its pitch wider, so you hear more of that up and down melody. French often keeps the pitch flatter, giving it a smoother, more restrained sound. Japanese, on the other hand, tends to lift the voice to a higher pitch. Typically, speakers who switch into Japanese may find themselves doing this unconsciously. Next, we have voice quality, or timbre, and every time I say that, my brain goes, it's going down, I'm yelling timbre. Oh my gosh, stop singing, Kevin, that's cringe. And no, I won't apologize if it's now stuck in your head. Anyway, to put it simply, timbre is what makes you sound like you instead of, say, I don't know, Morgan Freeman. It's shaped by how your tongue, lips, jaw, and even larynx are positioned. In French, you might round your lips more and create nasal resonance. In English, your tongue might sit further back, changing the color of your voice. These subtle adjustments stack up, and suddenly you're auditioning for the role of you 2.0, but in another language. Finally, we have rhythm and intonation, the music of speech. English is what we call stress-timed. Some syllables get hammered while others get swallowed. You know, figuratively, not literally. I mean, you get it. But that's basically why in English you would say hammered and not hammered, you know, in a sort of straight line. However, in Spanish, for example, the stressed syllables don't dominate as much as in English. The rhythm is more even, so each syllable gets its moment. Switch between Spanish and English and your voice changes its entire musical score. Same vocal chords, totally different concert. Second part, why does it happen? Okay, so what's behind this vocal shape-shifting exactly? Linguists, usually, point to 3 forces: your body, your society, and your brain. Let's start with the body. Every language is like a workout routine for your mouth. French asks you to do lip rounding reps, English loves wide jaw drops and diphthongs, while Japanese prefers crisp, clean syllables. These aren't random. They're muscle settings you repeat every time you speak. And just like gym training changes your body, language training changes your vocal posture. Essentially, the formula we have here is different posture equals different resonance equals different sounding voice. So yes, the body matters. But just as important is society, basically the people and culture you're speaking into. Back in 1973, linguist Howard Giles introduced something called communication accommodation theory. Fancy name, simple idea. We basically unconsciously adjust our voice to match the people around us. If everyone speaks quickly, we speed up. If everyone sounds smooth and calm, we'll tend to follow that pattern too. In bilingual context, that means shifting to what sounds normal in that language. For example, studies show that Japanese-English bilinguals often raise their pitch when speaking Japanese, especially women, because in Japan, higher pitch is linked with politeness and femininity. In other words, your voice essentially gets a cultural makeover. A 2022 study run by Elisa Pisoni et al. Seems to confirm this. They looked at Japanese-English bilinguals who grew up with Japanese first and learned English later. Participants had to read sentences to avatars that varied by formality and gender, for example, a formal male addressee versus an informal female one. And the result? Well, their pitch shifted not only with the language but also with who they imagined they were talking to. And yes, even when the who was literally a cartoon avatar. Science is wild. Even self-identity seemed to have played a role in this study. Women who described themselves with more masculine traits tended to use a higher pitch in English. Men who scored higher on feminine traits went lower in pitch. Bottom line, pitch isn't just about mechanics. It's also a social signal flexing to express identity. And then finally, there's the brain. As you probably know, speaking a second language is harder. Your brain is kind of like a computer running too many tabs. Give this video a like if you can relate. You also tend to monitor yourself more. Is my pronunciation right? Did I use the correct intonation? Am I even sounding natural? All that self-checking makes you tweak your pitch and timing in real time. In 2023, linguists Kai, Yin, and Zhang tested how bilinguals control their pitch. Here's how it worked. People spoke into a microphone while wearing headphones. Without telling them, the researchers slightly raised or lowered the pitch of the voice they heard back. Normally, when your brain hears your own voice a little too high or too low, it automatically nudges your real pitch in the opposite direction to stay on target. What they found was that in a first language, the brain made these corrections quickly and smoothly. But in a second language, the corrections were slower and stronger, almost like the system was overreacting. And that matters because slower, heavier corrections make your pitch wander and your intonation wobble. The end result is that the voice you hear in your second language doesn't quite match the familiar, steady voice you're used to in your first. Even advanced speakers still experience this effect, though in a much subtler way. Their brain's control in L2, second language, runs almost like it does in L1, but often not quite 100% the same. Part 3. Why this matters to you. Cool science, bro, but why should you care? If you're learning a language, this helps explain why pronunciation feels tricky. It's not just about producing the right sounds, it's also about catching the rhythm, the melody, and the whole voice setting of that language. That's why paying close attention to how people actually speak can make such a big difference. When you echo their rhythm and melody, not just the words, your body gradually learns the new routine and pronunciation starts to feel more natural. If you're an actor or voice-over artist, knowing this gives you control. Want to sound authentic in another language? Don't just swap the words. Shift your pitch range, change your rhythm, adjust your tone. That's basically the key to sounding like a new character. What if you're bilingual and just living life? Well, now you know why you sometimes feel like a different person depending on the language you're speaking. It's basically just your voice switching user profiles. It's not a bug, it's a feature. So to conclude, yes, you're not crazy. Your voice really does change when you switch languages. Because languages are full-body experiences. They reshape your vocal posture, your melody, and even your social identity. So next time you switch tongues and think, wow, I don't sound like me anymore, remember, you sound like the version of you that fits that language. If you like this video, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And don't forget to subscribe, because unlike your voice, YouTube's algorithm never changes. This was Kevin Abroad. I will see you in a future video. Bye.